Hey, hi Suleiman, how are you?
Hi, good, thanks. How are you doing?
Doing well.
Good, good. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you pretty well.
Great, great. No background noise or anything.
No, nothing.
Okay, great.
Suleiman, you're based out of India or somewhere abroad?
I'm in South Africa,
Oh, nice.
Johannesburg. Yeah, yeah. You and most of the team based out of India?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, cool.
So we are based out of at a couple of places. So me and majorly the tech team is based out of here in India.
Mm.
And then we have a couple of offices in Indonesia. We have Philippines and the other Southeast Asias.
Oh, nice. Okay, good. It's really good. How long have you been doing this sort of podcasts? I've caught a few episodes on your channel, but I'm not sure how long it's been.
See, Survey Sensum has been doing it since long. I've been here for almost 2 years now, but I started doing this thing like uh, almost a quarter, like for the past 1 quarter, I've been doing it.
Okay,
Though I've done these things previously, at different places, but yes, here at Survey Sensum, it's almost a quarter.
great. Okay, interesting concept. Really nice.
Thank you. So, Suleiman, let me know whenever we can start. We are
Yeah.
live. We are on air as per the radio standard and live as per the video standard.
Yeah, I'm ready when you are.
Perfect. So, first of all, thank you, Suleiman. Thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you on the episode of Humans Behind CX. So, a little bit on what exactly we try to do over here is like uncover the journey with respect to people who've been living, breathing, and actually working towards making a change on the customer experience part. Right. So this is the fourth episode, and we are pretty happy with the last three episode. What we've done, a lot of insights, a lot of understanding what the other people provided, and till from that particular time, it's been going pretty great. So first of all, again, thank you for joining, Suleiman, and it would be really great if you can just help us a little bit about yourself. A little bit about your journey, how you came across working in the customer experience domain, and your current organization to all those things. This will really help people to understand who you are and what to look forward and what to ask from you, and if they have any kind of a doubt.
Yeah, thanks, Jayesh. Firstly, thank you so much for having me. Really excited to be here. I think probably start my CX journey 10, 11 years back, completely outside what I studied. I did a Bachelor of Sciences and thought I'd be, somewhere in the scientific field,
Hmm.
but sort of fell into customer experience very early in my career.
Hmm.
And it grew from very traditional CX to now where we are sort of scaling premium experiences globally, identifying friction points, and using AI now to become a lever for speed, relevance, and consistency. I think it's changed a lot, but I've been very fortunate to work across. a majority of industries, aviation, financial services, transportation, and now as the head of CX for 10 Lifestyle Group, which is a completely different industry, looking at partnering with financial institutions to attract and retain wealthy and mass affluent customers through luxury concierge. So very different segment, but it's grown in it's added to my portfolio, and it's also opened up my eyes to what's possible within the CX space, not just NPS and CSAT.
Got it. Thank you so much, Suleiman. Really helpful. So, for the rest of the people who've been watching us, so today we'll be diving into, something which is way beyond transformation, where every single person, as I mentioned, as we breathe and, talk about work towards the CX domain, nowadays, every single person, whether a child to someone who's around 60 years old, is, living and breathing AI, right, at this point of time.
That's it.
So we
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
actually wanted to delve into a particular kind of a thing which is more on the personal side of AI, like so how AI is redefining personal experience. So this is a kind of a topic which we've picked, and it'll be really great, Suleiman, to hear your thoughts on that, hear your like story, how exactly you've been redefining personal experience using AI. So you've been here in 10 lifestyle groups since some time, I guess, Suleiman. So like you've given us a little bit about your journey, you've given us a little bit about how you've intersected through in your life through CX and all that particular part. But if I talk about AI as a service, right, or AI as a tool, so how are you using AI at 10 lifestyle group in terms of transforming customer experience over there?
Yeah, so I think when I joined 10, it's been over a year that I'm with 10 Lifestyle Group now. What really took me by surprise positively was the AI adoption from our very senior executives. And that meant that our chief executive and our exco group really were at the forefront of making sure that our people are trained with AI. So the first thing we did was, 130 senior members of 10 Lifestyle Group are all trained on AI, talking right from the ground up around what AI is, what's prompt engineering, what are large language models, how would you use it in the workplace. And since then, it's been, momentum. Putting together licensed AI products, and encouraging the use of it, and quite a lot of training happening within CX. I think that's where the personal experience really comes in, and what we are trying to do within the CX group is, making sure that we can deliver personal experience through contextual relevance, but delivering it responsibly. So, responsible adoption of AI and making sure that our teams know that human first and human in the loop approach is something that we are advocates on. So, personal experience, it's not just about knowing your member's name or your customer's name, it's anticipating their needs before they ask, respecting their privacy, which is a big thing, and blending AI automation with empathy and experiences.
Absolutely. So, with this kind of approach, which you're coming down to, like, top to bottom approach, where the senior stakeholders are actually, implementing things first and then bringing it down lower in the ladder just to make sure there's a kind of a replication which we can follow. And, people actually get admired in terms of seeing the senior stakeholders doing something first and then, bringing it down. So that's a
Yeah.
very, great approach, Suleiman, and actually something which works, which I've seen working around. So, Suleiman, I'll take a step back in terms of understanding a little bit more on the personal experience part. So, if I talk about, so what does personal experience mean to you in today's AI-driven world?
Yeah. So great. I think because I would say the AI forefront, I wouldn't say it's quite new, but for a lot of people within within different areas of the business, as well as different times in their career, AI is at different levels of adoptions. So that means that end users or members are also using AI. So for them to search something and get answers really quickly, it's easy. So for them to use a concierge company means that you already need to have the competitive edge around what you're giving your members. And I think what really stands out in terms of what does personal experience means today, it's delivering that member's context really quickly, but with high quality, and understanding their needs before they ask. That's really the big focus of us within the CX team, and making sure that the teams surrounding the CX team are well equipped for that. So we're not only using AI to serve the end user in terms of what we we're putting out. It's around making sure that our lifestyle managers, or in the context of agents, would be using as tools for them to deliver that personal experience. I think the underlying message is making sure that you deliver context quickly, responsibly, and at a high quality.
Got it. And actually, all these three pointers, what you've said is actually something which redefines everything. And I agree, on what all you said. So, Suleiman, you might have seen that, if I talk about 5 years, 10 years back, AI used to be just a kind of subject in tech colleges. People were learning, people were evolving, people were seeing what exactly it is, and it was more like a buzzword. But in what rise we've seen in the AI world, right? So if I ask you, so how have your understanding of customer needs have evolved with respect to, if I talk about rise in the AI, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, really great question. I think what it's really shown us is how we can move from a place of being really reactive to predictive. And I mean, when we use tools like our NPS or CSAT that reveals a detractor or a promoter or even a passive, uh, what do we do with that data? We in traditional CX sense, we would triage the problem and create some level of talking to the member and making sure that we keep that member and we don't result in that member churning. Right now, what AI is allowing us to do is to be really predictive. So it's surfacing patterns across journeys, across the member journeys, and allowing our CX team to validate those journeys and understand where the greatest pain points are. And we're able to do that quickly, and we're able to create really predictive frameworks around, if we solve X, we're going to solve Y for the member. And before it becomes a problem, and before it becomes something that is uh, we're operating from a reactive lens, we can create those frameworks really quickly. So uh, it's about understanding before the member, before it becomes a pain point for the member, and that's really what AI has evolved and allowed us to do, and how it fits into customer needs.
Got it, got it. So, Suleiman, if I'm talking about this predictability model, if we talk about these, models which are actually giving you these kind of information, right? So, just out of curiosity, I wanted to understand that what all models, or approaches are you using in terms of these kind of, aspects where you're segmenting the data and making, a lot of personalization possible?
Yeah. So a big thing is how we've changed our root causing. So previous root cause analysis, you'd use your pretty traditional techniques, which is five whys, fishbone analysis, understanding where the problems are by asking questions over and over again, which is great. It still has some level of application to it, but we can do that on a greater scale now. And like I said, within 10 Lifestyle Group, the AI adoption is really high, meaning we have enterprise licenses for things like Copilot, where we are able to look at very large data sets from our NPS and CSAT over a wide range of times. And 10 Lifestyle Group exists, in 20 plus countries, and those member segments are really different, right? And what members expect are really different. Someone who is in the Middle East would have really different expectations to someone in the UK or Australia. And the predictiveness of it means that we can analyze this data over a greater period of time and understand really shifts from seasonality to campaigns to what big events are happening in regions, and be able to really predict that based on what happened last year, we can anticipate that we need to get on top of this event or this experience before it becomes a pain point for members.
Got it. Got it. So, Suleiman, I actually, this question is actually from, a lot of people. What I've seen is, because once you move forward within a certain organization, there are certain aspects which are difficult to change, right? Which are, I would say, difficult to adopt as well. You were talking about in terms of adopting AI through the senior management. Right.
Yep.
So if I talk about that mind shift or that mindset shift, so how did you do that, and how did the organization, move towards that mindset shift that, from this traditional work structure, now we have to move down to an AI powered personalization?
A really interesting question, and I think for for people who don't understand AI, the general mindset is this is here to take my job. Or on the flip side, some organizations might be thinking of AI as a cost saver, where it can be used to make things cheaper, easier, better, faster. Within 10, that really wasn't the case because of the AI adoption really from the onset, like I mentioned, from senior leadership. But that doesn't mean it didn't come with the need for a mindset shift. And I think how we addressed that mindset shift was through really clear communication from our chief executive as well as our senior leadership team, where we held town halls with the entire organization and we explained what's our AI roadmap and our AI adoption plans. Uh, and really, it was making sure that we echo the message of AI being an experience amplifier. So allowing our lifestyle managers to serve members quicker, faster, and easier, allowing AI to take some of the more simple requests and allowing our lifestyle managers to focus more on the complex requests. And really, leadership were really great in embracing data stewardship, human accountability, and continuous learning. So we have our transformation team, which is now fully embedded in the organization, really looking at automation as well as skills transfer. So regular training, regular understanding of where the pain points are, and making sure that our teams feel comfortable with what that mindset shift or the requirements of that mindset shift are.
Got it. Okay. So, we are on the near end of 2025, Suleiman. So if I talk about, your understanding with respect to how personalized experience is, so how does it look like, in 2025? How does personalized experiences looking like in 2025, if I talk about on that particular part to you?
Yeah, I think 2025 was a really interesting year for us because we did some of these big changes where we rolled out AI training for, like I said, 130 plus people within 10. Um, for me, what it really boils down to was hyper personalization or segment of one, but with trust behind it. So we really focused on making sure that we have an established knowledge base, a governed knowledge base. We identified signals on members, things like anniversaries, things like birthdays, things like important dates, and making sure that we curate the experiences around that. So in 2025, I think next year is going to be even better. But we really, within the CX team, really focused on how do we look at those member journeys, onboarding member journeys, consolidating those journeys and reusing those journeys across channels. Making sure that we're quicker, faster, better, with even better or enhanced quality.
Got it. Okay. So, Suleiman, we were talking about a little bit on the predictive side of CX, right? So,
Yep.
you're saying at this point of time, it's more like a game changer. Right. So, you've been using certain models, you've been using certain, methodologies through which is, giving you that kind of an information. So, how does AI actually anticipate customer needs before, they express them? So, if I come down in terms of the core of it, right? So, how is it happening? Like, it's a basic logic. You have the data, AI predicts that, this can happen.
Yep.
But AI needs to be trained. AI needs to be told that, these are certain things which exactly, are to be highlighted. These are th certain things which are to be ignored. So how do you do that background of it?
Yeah, so I think a lot of work is still currently happening where we're making sure our knowledge base is updated with relevant information because that's the only way that I mean we're a co-pilot organization. It's the only way co-pilot is going to be able to allow our lifestyle managers to get accurate information. So there's a lot of work happening with our transformation teams and our tech teams on making sure our knowledge base is updated with relevant and contextual information. But in terms of anticipating needs, really what's key for us is when a member enters uh, the 10 ecosystem, we have data on them, and it's consent based data, which is things like important dates, their preferences, coming down to meal preferences, events, things they enjoy doing. How do we use that data within the members ecosystem, within our CRM and within our knowledge base, to create patterns of recognition? And that's really what the big focus on. So if Jayesh phones in and is looking for a a dining in London for two people, a lifestyle manager should know, Jayesh is vegan. This is he's booking something on an important date, so it's an anniversary. How can we delight the member with further enhancements on that? And that's really been the biggest focus on that, is making sure that we delight the member before they need to provide that context, with us knowing more about them and making sure that um, the experience is enhanced.
Got it. Got it. So you come down to those nitty-gritties as well, which exactly actually shapes the experience from understanding the meal type to preference to there might be a possibility that, the last time they sat at a window table to all those kind of things, which gives them this that kind of a personalization that they are valued.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what's going to give you the competitive edge, right? Members, customers are spoiled for choice in this day and age.
Hmm.
If they're not happy with the service, they can go somewhere else.
Correct.
The competitive edge that we have is being able to curate those experiences, and a big technology push that allows us to, make sure we stand out. And we're big on feedback. So we're big on NPS, we're big on CSAT, we're big on positive and negative feedback. So when we look at the positive feedbacks we've received, we make sure that we are doing these things right.
Got it. Got it. So, coming down to these predictive approaches, so, like if you have to balance these proactive services, so how do you handle the privacy concerns over here?
Yeah, I think privacy is non-negotiable. We
Correct.
service very, ultra high net worth individuals. We service exclusive clients, and for us, privacy is non-negotiable. Negotiable. We make sure we get clear consent, and because we partner with enterprise level products like Copilot, so we make sure that we have enterprise tools that allow and further govern that privacy and that security. And we make sure that we also have a responsible AI policy, that we know within what grounds we should be operating and how do we control and make sure that the members' needs are balanced with the members' privacy. Well, not balanced, I would say privacy non-negotiable, and then serving the member needs post that.
Got it. Got it. And coming down to the next part, like people talk a lot about, like a premium customer experience, or I would say premium service environments and these kind of things. So in a premium service environment, where must human expertise remain non-negotiable?
Uh, I, going back to what we adopted within 10 Lifestyle Group was making sure that our teams are clear. The town halls were aimed at making sure that people understand how important their roles are. Um, so for us, any high touch interaction, still requires human expertise. Members ask for complex things sometimes, so complex itineraries remain an important point. Emotional moments, when it's something that's high demand, where it's something that a member needs to speak to someone, we make sure that someone is available. Um, and in situations where there's a crisis or where we need to handle crises, we make sure that our humans are able to to be available for members. what we're big on is making sure that AI provides the suggestions, curates the information really quickly, and that our lifestyle managers can then put that forward to members, and that they can create decisions based on the members' needs and preferences. So, Copilot, as its name suggests, really is the lifestyle manager's co-pilot in this instant, and we make sure that our high-touch interactions, our complex itineraries remain as important points for our members.
Got it. Got it. So, Suleiman, we are talking about something where we are saying, like any AI agent or a human agent, should be partners over here,
Yep.
right? Rather than someone overpowering someone else. So, how does an ideal partnership looks like between AI and a human agent?
Yeah. So I think in any organization, you have those tasks that are repetitive in nature, that require some level of administration. The ideal partnership, I would say, is that the automation handles the repeatable tasks, and we allow our people to handle the delight, the remarkable, or the making sure that our members are delighted. We I would say that AI should be accelerating and making the prep work faster, so we can deliver the same or even better quality to members through empathy and access, but AI makes it quicker to curate all of that information for them. So the ideal partnership is, making sure that the back-end curation and the back-end work is now delivered faster. The quality still remains, but we then can also now partner that with important signals and triggers for members.
Got it. Got it. So, just out of curiosity, if you can just help me with any example where, you've seen within 10 itself that, these were certain kind of things which were taking these amount of time, but once we implemented AI, our decision making and these kind of things, any kind of an example which has, given you a 100% confident that this is something what exactly we were needing.
Yeah, so like I mentioned, we're big on feedback. So, in preparation for this, and, just making sure that I touch base with my team, my global CX team, uh, one of the things I looked at was trying to find really good examples to demonstrate this, where AI has enhanced decision making. And really, what stood out was, when members, like I said, have really complex itineraries where they want to fly in for a specific event, and they want to arrive at a certain time. They want to then, have some sort of curated experience to their hotel, and then from the hotel, dining options across several five-star establishments. That can typically take some time, right, to put together for a lifestyle manager to curate that experience. They could use best practice, they could use what members had seen before, but it can take time to get that together. A really good example is, our knowledge base and Copilot being able to summarize all of this this information that the member needs, and then summarizing it and then creating a curated best fit where our lifestyle manager can then vet and then make the judgment to pick the best fit. And really, the feedback and comments we got on that was this was really fast, seamless, and enhanced with exactly what the member wants. So really pairing speed of how we respond to members with keeping that bespoke and curated options.
Got it. And talking about speed, what I've heard from people is that AI does bring speed, right? But if I talk about accuracy and relevance, so where does you think AI creates the biggest impact in service delivery, like whether speed, accuracy, or relevance?
That's an interesting one. I think the biggest impact area would be, you know, right now what we're currently seeing is our internal workflows. So the research that our lifestyle managers would do, and I'm really focusing on our lifestyle managers, but it doesn't only touch that area. The rest of our business is also benefiting from those internal workflows. The CX team uh, being able to analyze and find root causes faster, preparing preparing our reports for our clients, our schemes, and for our internal stakeholders. Right now, the biggest impact area I've seen is basically speed and accuracy. Saving hours and making sure our teams can also focus on more proactive projects and tasks.
Got it. Got it. And coming around on the same segment, like we are talking about speed, and so with a lot of speed comes down a lot of errors as well, right? So how does AI help you reduce errors or inconsistencies that happen in human-only environment?
Yeah, so I think human error is natural. But what we've seen in terms of error reduction is AI is able to standardize content for us, whether that's how we present information to a member. It's also able to flag inconsistencies. So what we are giving our co-pilot can return and tell us something doesn't look right here, or something isn't adding up based on what the member wants in terms of their travel dates or their dining options versus what we are curating. And it makes sure that we can pick up those errors before we give it to the member. And also it ensures compliance, right? So basically big on privacy. So AI is helping us um, in reducing errors. But really the key here is that our teams are empowered to make sure that their review remains final. So whatever the AI is picking up, there's a leg of human review that's needed before that goes to a member.
Got it. Got it. Again, like it's more like a partnership over here that whatever results
That's
AI
it.
is bringing in, there's a human touch to it in terms of understanding whether how priority based decision needs to be taken. Right. So
Yeah, that's it.
coming in terms of the decision making part, like so how is AI actually, reshaping those decision making within your CX team? Whether if I talk about those frontline to leaderships, you know, all the parameters where you're actually, you've implemented AI, you're talking a lot about in terms of, leadership adopting it. So how does that change their decision making?
Yeah, frontline. I think that the biggest one from a frontline perspective is faster access to knowledge. That's from our lifestyle managers within the CX team. It's really allowed us to service our stakeholders. I think as a CX department, we're a support department, so it's allowed us to service our stakeholders a lot quicker. Root causes happen faster. Uh, we're able to triage detractors in our NPS quicker, faster, and easier, and get it to the right teams quicker. There's a lot of work on making sure that we understand that a member's journey, they won't specifically highlight every single problem they had. They will highlight the biggest one they've had. And for us to understand and get to what the biggest problem is and get it to the right area and reduce it and create predictive frameworks before it happens again, that's what it's really allowed our CX team to do. From a leadership perspective, I think because the adoption was really early and the training was really early, our leadership team has been really curious with playing around with AI tools that we have within the organization, creating predictive insights, planning resources, spotting trends. I think even simple use cases like using AI to create better looking presentations or presenting data in a more friendly manner. And I think that really comes down to really early adoption. So leadership has also really adopted some of the use cases that wouldn't typically or traditionally be used by leadership, but the curiosity is there, which is really great.
Got it, got it. So, Suleiman, if we talk about, I as an individual or anyone who's there working in the CX team, right? So, to thrive within this AI augmented environment, what all new skills a person needs working in a CX team?
I think there's still a need for those traditional skills to remain. Let me start with that. So things like data literacy is really important for you to be able to question your output. I think every AI tool will have a disclaimer saying, AI can make mistakes, check your work. So it's important that from a CX perspective, the traditional skills are still there in terms of data literacy, uh, being able to spot trends, being able to look at a process and see how you can optimize it. But I think in terms of new skills, um, things like prompt engineering, how to create a really good prompt. Why should a prompt be structured in this manner? What outputs can you expect with a prompt of this quality? Um, ethical reasoning, understanding what you should be giving AI versus what you should be holding off on, data storytelling, understanding AI outputs, looking for errors. Um, I would say the traditional things like data literacy, curiosity, process optimization is still there, but now being able to work with your AI tool to create better prompts and to be able to question the outputs is really key.
Got it. Got it. So, you know, I was just some time back I was talking to one of leaders in the insurance industry, and he told me that sometimes what exactly happens is that when the data is fetched to AI, right, there are a lot of problems which exactly people talk about. If I talk about
Yeah.
verbatims or textual feedback, what people get. So people used to talk about high interest rates, right? So within that high interest rates, I would say the AI used to give them a understanding that interest rates should be decreased for these to be reduced, something like that. But this is something,
Yeah.
this is not something an organization can do, an insurance organization can do, because that's a mandate kind of a thing. That's a process which exactly they've created in terms of calculating those interest rates, right? So if I talk about the leaders over there, so how can leaders ensure that AI driven decisions remain ethical and actually customer centric?
Yeah, I think that's where it's the CX team make sure that we partner and we collaborate really often, whether it's our weekly and monthly sessions with our stakeholders, understanding how are we addressing pain points, and I think our voice is to make sure that we keep the customer in the room at all times, right? So when a decision is being made, I I always whenever I join these forums, I always make sure I tell people that you know look at me like I'm the customer. So whatever decisions I'm going to make, I'm going to make sure that it's customer first and it's customer centric. That's been really easy at 10 because a lot of individuals and a lot of departments are really customer centric already. But to couple that with making decisions ethical, I think really a formal, responsible AI policy needs to be present. It needs to be understood, um, and making sure humans are accountable for decisions at the end of the day. I think that's really key.
Okay, got it. So if we talk about we've talked about decision making. We've talked about a lot about how exactly humans and AI need to partner within themselves in terms of making sure that we get the right or the appropriate decision making. Right. So AI actually is actually it's actually becoming integrated into experiences. Like so,
Yeah.
how do you see loyalty evolving in 2026?
Yeah, I think even with the early onset of AI, customers, members, like I mentioned, were really spoiled for choice, where they have a number of options available to them. If what they're getting is not up to their standards, if we're talking financial institutions, if you're banking with a certain bank and you're not getting the service you need, you have options available to you to switch to another bank. And banks have also made it easy for you to switch your entire banking profile over, whether you have a home loan, uh, credit facilities, vehicle finance. It's very easy to switch all of that because they understand needs change. Within our context, what we're really focusing on is that member anticipation, anticipating what members need and delighting them before uh, they they need to raise it as it's not up to their standards or expectations. Uh, Loyalty, really, we need to make sure that it's frictionless and we're really proactive. And proactive coming from member preferences, but also highlighting this could be a potential problem. How do we get on top of it before it becomes a member problem or member challenge? So I think loyalty is going to evolve where members are going to expect really quick, frictionless service, even more so than we do right now. How they communicate with us, what channels they use needs to really be enhanced and seamless. And I think that's really going to make a difference between how you attract customers and how you retain and create that loyalty.
Okay, fair point. So, Suleiman, one thing, because see, this is where exactly I feel, you know, I'm still confused in terms of as someone who's working in the CX industry. I sometimes gets confused myself that how exactly if we talk about HNI clients, if we talk about high value customers,
Yeah.
right? So, how do you think AI will redefine these, premium engagements with those high value customers? Because if I talk about any person who's investing, crazy money somewhere with respect to any kind of a wealth manager, they won't listen to an AI. They would definitely want a
Yeah.
person sitting in front of them, right? Even if I talk about any service you talk about, when we talk about high value customers, there has to be a personal engagement over there. So how do you think AI can redefine these kind of premium engagements, whether it can or whether it not? Like your opinion on that.
Yeah, I think really interesting question, Jayesh. But I think the customer personas, which I think any good or skilled CX practitioner will understand why a persona is so important, and understanding your customer segments and personas are important because, like you said, someone who is really ultra high net worth might not want to speak to an AI, might want to speak to a person. The person they speak to needs to have tools enabled to them to make sure there's zero friction. So although I want to speak to a person, if that person is using AI or Copilot, it should it should enhance their service to that individual or that member. So really delivering zero friction, hyper relevance, and making sure you deliver what you deliver to members really responsibly. And I think the customer persona and the customer segment really dictates that, where you could have uh, someone who is a tech millionaire or has a tech startup, and he wants to speak to someone, or he doesn't mind speaking to an AI agent, as long as it delivers the same level of experience or even better than it would be than picking up and speaking to their personal banker. So I think the underpinning uh, statement is making sure it's zero friction, hyper relevant to the member, and delivered quickly and responsibly.
Okay, got it. So, Suleiman, we were majorly talking about either an end customer, even if you're talking about any client. We were
Yeah.
talking about individuals within the organization, how they should, use AI, how they should implement these kind of things. But if I talk about brand as a whole, like,
Yeah.
I understand a brand needs to adopt AI for being there, providing those kind of services to, on the speed basis, accurate kind of an information should flow, those kind of things. But apart from that, if I talk about, what should brands do, be doing now to prepare for AI-led loyalty and premium CX models? If I talk about those kind of lines, I get it. Adoption is one part, using it is
Yeah.
one part, but how on the other side of the scenario they should do these kind of things using AI as a model or those kind of things.
Yeah, I think depending on what brand you are and where you are in your life cycle, I think the one thing that I would say, is key is investing in governed knowledge for your people. So it, it's a given that you have people in your organization, they're going to use AI to certain degrees. Someone is using ChatGPT to edit their email, someone is using it for more complex tasks. The minute you don't have governed knowledge on that, you don't know where your people are and you don't understand what levels they are trained on. So for me, what really key is making sure that governed knowledge is in place, um, and making sure humans understand their importance in that. So I really have I really have a good experience of speaking from on what 10 had done, and it was in that it was governed knowledge, and it was making humans understand their importance in AI, and that's worked really well so far. I don't think it depends on how big you are as an organization, but I think governed knowledge is the starting point so that you understand where all of your team members are in terms of AI competency. Because to be quite honest, I think organizations should have already started adopting it. And the best time to do it is now.
Okay, sure. So, a little bit, a couple of questions on a rapid fire level
Yeah,
before we, close this podcast. So, whatever comes in your mind, one word answer, nothing more. Just go for it and say whatever you have in mind at this point of time.
sure. Yeah.
So, what's your favorite AI tool right now?
Copilot.
Okay. One misconception about AI in CX you want to bust.
Mm, AI is not meant to replace humans. It amplifies their work.
Okay. So, the most underrated AI use case in experience.
Underrated use case. Uh, Retrieving knowledge from a knowledge base and prepping that. I say
Okay.
it's underrated because it's you don't see it, you just see the end result. But if it's done properly, it's really great.
And one most important question, human or AI, who wins?
Um, I think AI scales and humans create the magic behind it.
Okay. Sure. Fair point. So, thank you so much, Suleiman. This is all from my side. If you have anything, if you want to ask something or
Yeah.
you want to tell something to all those people who are actually there looking at us. So, any one thing you would suggest them that that uh, anything from your side which can help them.
Yeah, from my side, I think I've been very fortunate to lead a global team at different levels of AI competency. Not only has it taught them something, it's taught me something. And what it's really taught me is that people's comfort zones are going to have to expand in this AI adoption time that we are living in. And I think it's important to really expand your comfort zone and explore these use cases. Be curious around what it can do for you, and don't operate only in treating it as a Google search replacement. See what else it can do for you, how it can make your life easier. And I think people are afraid that AI is going to replace them. But if you are AI competent, you'll always have a place to use AI to your advantage and to make sure that what you're putting out there um, comes with best practice. So I think that that's something that I've learned and something that I'm going to continue upskilling myself. I think I haven't upskilled enough on AI, but I've been fortunate to be surrounded by individuals who are very AI driven, family members, friends, colleagues, and I enjoy having these discussions with them around how they are using it. And it's very cool to see some of the use cases. I've got a friend who uses a premium chat GPT, as an everyday tool for him. He uses it to redesign some of his things in his house. I've got another friend who uses it, as sort of a devil's advocate to make sure that he's making the right decisions when it comes to big, complex tasks. But I think it's about being curious, understanding what's out there, and trying to use it to amplify your life. So I think that's my biggest learning. In terms of a question, I think I haven't had an opportunity to learn about your experience so far with AI, and you being within the CX space. How have you seen that adoption within your region or within the clients and places you work?
So it's more about education, Suleiman, over here, right? If I talk about India, right, everyone wants AI within the system,
Yeah,
right? A lot of people, I would say, know what they need from AI, but there are a lot of organizations, there are a lot of people who are still in the learning phase. So it's more on the education front, which we are dealing with, like how
right.
exactly AI can reduce manpower in terms of doing any kind of a work which exactly requires in terms of finding those actionables to insights to any kind of a thing, right? So even if I talk about any organization who gets a lot of feedback within, right, it gets a lot of it requires a lot of manual effort to go through that. It
Yeah.
requires a lot of, concentration in terms of coming down with respect to finding those nitty-gritties which are actually impacting, their customers, to their clients, to their partners, merchants, anywhere, whichever
Yeah.
industry you talk about, right? So what we are doing as an organization, what we do as individuals is redefining that methodology in terms of making sure that their work gets easier, right? Rather
Right.
than rather than getting buried in data, they work on decision makings, right? They implement those things which are actually making, those decisions which are making life easier for their customers. Yesterday only, like within all these particular parameters which exactly we've been seeing, whatever is happening, around the globe at this point of time, or even if I talk about in India. Yesterday only, I wrote a post on LinkedIn that, if you see any customer, any individual, we as individuals, right,
Mm.
whenever we are signing any contract, whenever we are, going through these kind of documents, it requires a lot of concentration for one person to read those 4 pages, 6 pages,
Yeah, absolutely.
right? But we being human beings, we tend to ignore that and we move forward.
Yeah.
But whenever there's a problem which happens, right? Whether it's 2 a.m., whether it's, early morning, whatever time it is, we can actually write paragraphs on it, what exactly the problem was, what happened with me. Even if I talk about going to a restaurant, I can write pages if something goes wrong.
Right.
So at that point of time, I have that concentration, I have that time, I have that everything which is required,
Yeah.
right? But while doing that contractual thing, I'm more on an ignorant front. So, see, I understand that, for any kind of an organization, what CX should be, even if I say AI coming into place, giving you those kind of understanding, empathy is something which is actually redefining customer experience, what I've seen. So
Yeah.
if I talk about me as an individual, if I'm, doing any kind of a job, whether for an organization, for a customer, or anyone, all I'll work would be just, you know, making sure that a person who already has 99 problems in their life, I don't become the 100th.
You're not the 100th problem. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I would try to make that problem 98 rather than 100. So
Yeah.
within my process as an organization, within my process as a individual, I will try to make that life easier for a person one
Yeah.
step at a time.
Got
Right. So
it.
that is, I would say, CXs.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. I fully agree with you. I think it's a difficult space to balance, member existing problems and not creating a new problem. But I think it's only going to get better from here with how AI adoption grows and is enhanced. So I think it's going to be an interesting space. I think it's the best time to be in CX, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. I totally agree on that.
Yeah. Okay. No, thank you for that.
Thank you, Suleiman. Thank you for such a powerful discussion. Your insights has actually made it clear that AI is actually not replacing any human touch. It's just amplifying it, redefining it and making every interaction more meaningful. So,
Yeah, that's it.
thank you for providing this kind of a knowledge to us, Suleiman. And everyone who's watching, thank you for watching us. And again, I would say I totally understand that, dashboards to any process knowledge to everything that is required in terms of implementing any decision making. But again, one step at a time, if you just remove one pain point every time whenever you're interacting with a person or interacting with the customer, I would say they'll be your fan.
Yeah, that's it. Fully agree with you. Thank you for having me and inviting me to this. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you, Suleiman. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Take care.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.